The story starts with the main character, Ming. As he rides his bike, he turns the traffic lights green in front of him to get rid of the traffic jam. He soon regrets having this power though, because it might not be very useful in battle. Then, it comes out that a half day ago, when everyone's talents were tested at the Extraordinary Academy Test Conference, Ming-He's powers were at the white dust level, which is the lowest level of all time. Soon, he was kicked out of the conference because he couldn't be let in. Other people were able to rank really high, and people started making fun of him for his luck and talent that no one could see. While he was riding through the night sky and thinking about his future, since he didn't have the skills to face anything powerful, he saw what looked like a piece of a meteor moving toward him very quickly and hovering above his head. Just when he thinks that the meteor fragment won't hit him because bullets haven't been able to hit him no matter how hard they've tried, it does the exact opposite. The piece hits him so hard and at such an awkward angle that it throws him to the ground and turns everything around him into dust and cement. When the fragment merged with him as he was falling apart, it was able to find out that he didn't have any special skills other than being able to go invisible. The goddess of the fragment feels sorry for him because he can't help himself, so she gives him the extraordinary power of the dark mysterious fists with the red honor rank to make him a better fighter. Even though Ming-He's body is fine, he quickly fell into a coma because his head had to go through a lot of shock because it was hurt in the big crash. But the nurse said she would take good care of Ming-He so that he could get better as soon as possible. Lu Qian eventually came to see him in his condition with a letter that had the answer to Ming-He's love confession, which his bullies had torn apart in a month. After a year, mutant monsters from the underworld start coming out of holes all over the southern suburbs to cause trouble for people. People were told to leave public buildings and spaces as soon as possible, but the nurse who cared for our main character, Ming, stayed behind. He decides not to leave him in such a bad state, saving himself and Dr. Zhao in the process. When she grabs Ming-He's hand and tries to pull him up to save his life, one of the mutant monsters grabs her. Surprisingly, our amazing hero Ming-He saves her when he throws his overpowered punch. He threw a punch that was so strong and well placed that it blew up a big part of the building and took the monster with it. Nurse Song can't stop crying about the whole thing, but Ming-He tells her that things have gotten better because of him. But she was really confused because she had never thought he would save her at the right time after she woke up from the coma. Then, Ming-He is surprised to see a mutated cockroach in the southern hospital. This is because pollution got into the city sewers and made them so toxic that serious parasites came up from the ground. Nurse Song takes her job as a nurse very seriously, which is why she stuck with him until the end. However, she couldn't help but wonder how someone like him, a student, killed such a scary mutant beast with just one punch. Ming-He decides not to explain his theory of the ability because he doesn't want to sound like a crazy person. Instead, he says that they should leave quickly so they can catch up with the other groups who are leaving. Ming-He makes Nurse Song wait behind him while he fights the mutant animals in the hospital hallway. As the monsters kept coming up to him one by one, he was killing them with just one punch. When he is busy fighting the monsters, one of them sneaks up behind Nurse Song. He saves her again as he gathers sulfuric acid to make a furic acid fist and throws it at the sneaking monster. The same thing he had done many times in his mind but never in real life because he was in a coma. Nurse Song thought he didn't get into the school because the admissions teacher was too short-sighted to see his talents, which were as good as those of a starlight extraordinaire. He is very disgusted by the huge cockroaches that are attacking everyone, but Nurse Song says that there are other animals in the sewers as well. On the outskirts of the southern city, a lot of cockroaches attacked the bus where Dr. Zhao and the other humans were trying to get to a safer place in the city. Suddenly, their cries for help reach a starlight rank extraordinaire as he keeps hitting the monsters with his power of an infinite gun magazine, sending them all to hell. But even he was soon beaten up by a mutant rat-like monster with strong front teeth who attacked him from above the bus. He had to yell for help to save his own life. Soon, Nurse Song realizes that the last bus that left the hospital is in serious danger when she sees that the bridge is falling apart and the fire is spreading. Then, a walkie-talkie fell and landed next to Ming. He goes on to say that the mutants are afraid of fire, and that a high schooler like him shouldn't keep messing with the mutant beast on a general level. The person on the walkie-talkie didn't know that Ming-He didn't want to let the doctors and nurses who cared for him while he was in a coma for a year die. The huge rat starts to play with its prey as it keeps moving it up and down to scare the people inside the bus. Ming-He tells Nurse Song not to come out of the cover because it will make her life even more dangerous. When she worries about his safety, he wants to do his best, just like she does when she helps her patients on her own. Ming-He moves quickly out of cover and rushes up close to the beast to give it a strong punch that leaves a big, bloody mark on its face. He could assume that fighting it head-on without a plan will leave him open to attack in any fight because it is so big and moves so quickly. He tries to get it off the bus while quickly dodging the rat's attacks. When he finds a good chance, he gives it a powerful punch in the face again. The second hard punch knocks the beast to the ground, but he knew that animals like this might play dead and look for ways to hit him back. He gets away from it at the right time and is happy to do so. He is very good at figuring out what is going on around him so he can take the right step at the right time. He might think he can't kill it by beating it and start looking for something else that might work. When the rat is busy punching the wrecked cars, he sees a car on the highway that is running out of gas and starts it up with his lighter. When Nurse Song gets to the doctor and everyone else on the bus, Ming-He's plan works very well, and the beast starts shivering in fear in the fire-made hellhole. As everyone was looking right at him, Ming-He used a huge fire made by the gasoline and explosion to throw a huge punch at the beast, which blew it away for good. Dr. Zhao and the other people who work at the hospital finally recognize the patient they have been taking care of for almost a year. They are surprised, even though he is a student who was turned away from the Extraordinary Academy. In the meantime, Lu Qian's superior in the Extraordinary Command Force tells him not to rush to the danger zone where the hospital workers needed help right away because it has already been defeated by someone who is unknown. Then Lu Qian seems very eager to meet the person who killed the mutated rat who was a general. But the woman at the command post thought it might be some unregistered extraordinaire and not the rude student she was thinking of. She also thought that the source of the sudden pollution might cause more and more mutated creatures to come out of the sewers. The best thing to do would be to get all of the civilians out of the city in the south and put a red alert and lockdown in place for the polluted area. On the other hand, when Nurse Song is treating Ming-He, she keeps thanking him for what he did, saying that he is the only reason anyone is alive right now. Ming-He's hard-working sister rushes into the military, yelling for help to get her brother out safely, thinking that he is still in a coma. While Ming-He's older sister is pleading for her brother's life and making a promise to save him even if it means giving up her own, he keeps looking at her tearful face like a chipmunk looking at its owner. As soon as she sees her sick and weak brother, who has been in a coma for a year, she hugs him, even though she is in a lot of pain because she has been the only one taking care of her younger brother and working multiple jobs every day to pay for his hospital bills. Not only that, but she also promised her brother that she would take care of him until she needed a walking stick to carry her weight. Ming-He holds her close as he continues to thank her for all the hard work she has done to save his life. He knows that her older brother has a lot on his shoulders. Ming, when he wakes up at his own house for the first time in a long time, he sees that his sister has already left. She wrote him a note telling him to enjoy his time at home because she has to work hard to pay off the rest of his medical bills. He has a flashback of his sister working hard to make up for what she did, and she is even paler than he is, even though he has been the one in the hospital. While he eats his breakfast, he thinks about how he could make money to make his sister's life better so she wouldn't have to work so hard. At the same time, he hears about the news that the government is looking for someone who can help them figure out where the polluted fluid is coming from. Also, they are offering people who want to kill mutated beasts a chance to make a lot of money. Ming, just by looking at the news, which could give him and his sister the comfortable life he wants, he was already thinking about spending money. Ming-He thinks of places like Nanjiao Hospital and Nanjiao District, where he might find clues about the source of the polluted fluid. Even if he doesn't get any information on the matter, it will still help him because he will continue to make money as long as he deals with the mutated beasts. Soon, he gets to the bounty hall to get his superhuman badge, which is needed for any licensed superhuman to start posting their bounty. When he gets to the training place, the receptionist at the bounty hall gives him a robot that can measure how hard each punch he throws is. Ming-He sees that the robot's minimum label is set to 800. After reading the note, he throws a super punch right at the bot's core, which blows it up so much that he can see 1000 kg for his punch. The people around him all scream at the same time because they never thought anyone would break the record, even though it was barely enough to meet the standard. The record puts Ming-He ahead of Iron Fist, who just came out a few days ago. For breaking the record, he gets a small prize of 1000 yuan, and the receptionist promises to get him more prizes if he keeps breaking records. Ming, the receptionist, tells him about the starting and ending ranks in the bounty hall, and he gets excited when he thinks about buying a villa and an expensive car with the money he gets when he reaches the Heaven Flare rank. Because of what the government had just said, the whole bounty hall was full of superhumans waiting for their team members. Then, a fat guy named Luo Kai-xian with headphones walks up to our main character, Minghee, and asks him to join his team, the Crimson Eagles, because they were looking for more people to fight monsters in a dangerous place. When people are alone, there is always a chance that monsters will attack them all at once, and if no one sees them, it can be a sure way to die. At the same time, the authorities have made it so that only people with abilities below Sunblaze rank can enter alone. When the fat guy sees Minghee's Starlight rank and turn badge, he decides to ignore him and call him a rookie. While he's wondering why nobody wants to work with him because he's a rookie, Minghee gets noticed by his famous classmates, some of whom really enjoy picking on him. Lin Yuyu, a girl, calls him over to talk to them, but Shuijing starts the conversation by making fun of him because of his lack of money, his weak body, and his special ability. They also have two other team members named Lu Xinghong and Wang Xiaodan. It doesn't bother him much that his classmates misunderstand and look down on him, since he has to be on a team to be allowed to go to college. Lu Xinghong thinks that they should use Minghee as their mascot to bring good luck on their journey, but Wang and Lin think that as his old classmates, they should take him with them anyway to help him out. On the way, Lin starts to tell Minghee that their school requires them to do one extracurricular activity, so they decided to help them deal with the pollution problem. When Minghee asks her about Luo Qian, Shuijing says that she is now famous at the institute, and that she stopped hanging out with her low-ranking friends because they couldn't catch up to her. Also, the fact that she went back to Lanyang City to help officials find the source of pollution stood out. Since Minghee used to get perfect grades in humanities class, Lin asks him what he thinks the source of pollution must be. But before he could answer the question, Shuijing said that his perfect grades don't mean anything because the institute wouldn't let him in because he couldn't fight and they were hunting mutant cockroaches. When Minghee thought about the government's report, the only thing that made sense to him was that the pollutant must be a fluid that got into the sewer system by accident, since the problem is affecting the creatures that live in the sewers. Then, in addition to cockroaches and rats, there were also mutant maggots. They are weaker than the other mutants because they can be killed more easily than the others. Minghee's guess turns out to be wrong as soon as the mutant maggots start crashing down on the vehicles after forming a fist-shaped group. The effects of the mutant maggots are much worse than those of the others because they form huge groups and attack larger forms of life to eat them. They do this as a group and eat everything as a group. Things happened so quickly in front of Minghee and Lin's eyes that they couldn't do anything but run, while their other team members kept looking everywhere but where they were going. As soon as Shuijing sees the mutant maggots, he keeps running, afraid for his life, toward a nearby building with tempered glass all around it to protect him. But unlike everyone else, when Wang Xiaodan tells him that Lin has fallen to the ground, he decides to go back and help her. When he got to her, Minghee sees that the mutant maggots are almost reaching down to Lin to eat her whole, and Lin was trying to keep him from getting caught with her. But he doesn't want to put his friend in danger, so he decides to take the head off the fire hydrant. Then, he uses the power of the water force to make big wave fists, which he uses to push back the big wave of mutant maggots. Lin couldn't help but wonder how strong Minghee was as she continued to cry uncontrollably because she couldn't believe someone like him would be able to do something like that. She starts to like him right away because he keeps helping her, but she feels hopeless because he likes Lu Qian. She thanks him for not giving up on her like the others did. When they both get back from the dangerous situation, her classmates start acting like they were going to save her from the danger, saying that they didn't even notice that she fell down on the ground. When they start asking Lin about the flies, she and Minghee decides to ignore their question and starts walking around the building in case the maggots get inside. Wang Xiaodan scolds the others for wanting to check out the building, but they keep laughing nervously. Soon when he gets to the lab area, he sees that an insect specimen from cage number 9 has been missing since December 30th, 2023. Officials are still looking into this. As Minghee keeps talking about the bug on his own, and as he walks back to the other side, the sands continue to fall on the paper with information about the giant centipede, an insect that has been missing for half a year. As he locks the doors to the buildings, he sees Dr. Zhao walking through the quarantine zone towards a dark building. Minghee is confused about his random expedition because he doesn't have any superpowers that could easily get him into trouble. Suddenly, the beautiful nurse Song calls him on the phone and finally introduces herself. She tells him that from now on, he should call her Sister Lan. She was waiting for him to come to dinner with her at night, and she told him he couldn't say no. But when he tells her he lives in the quarantined area, she reacts badly out of concern for his safety, knowing that he could be in danger at any time, which is why the government has locked it out. When he says that he is worried about his sister and trying to make money so that she doesn't have to carry such a heavy load, it turns out that Taeyu isn't his real sister, but they care for each other because they grew up together at the orphanage. Sister Lan takes off her clothes and starts taking a cold shower when she realizes how much Ming he likes his sister Taeyu. She feels bad that she has to dress up for him. When he told her about how Dr. Zhao wandered around the quarantined area, she was also scared by the fact that no one would have expected him to do that at such a bad time. Then, to make things more interesting, she says that Dr. Zhao has been acting strangely lately because he has stopped coming to work regularly, and has been leaving work early, which he has never done in his whole life. Not only that, but because he couldn't sleep at night, he started making silly mistakes in surgeries, which hurt his ability to focus. Then, something happened where the main branch sent him the sample of the scourge's blood that Dr. Zhao had lost when he was supposed to clean it. Sister Lan says that Ming he lost his blood on the day he was taken to the hospital. When Ming he hears this strange fact, he thinks that the blood is what caused the pollution in the first place. When he tells Sister Lan about his theory, she can't help but wonder what really happened, since Dr. Zhao said that he said it was lost after the purification was over. Then they both realize that it might be the only reason why Dr. Zhao is wandering around the quarantined area, since he blames himself for the disaster. Ming he asks Sister Lan to call the government so they can check out the empty building that Dr. Zhao and Ming were in. He decides to stop him from going there because he thinks it may be the source of pollution. When he's done talking with Sister Lan, Ming he tells everyone to rest in the building while he leaves to look for Dr. Zhao by wandering around the zone and not listening to Lin. He sees that the water flow has separated the mutant maggots, so they are lying on the ground helplessly, and he walks between the zone of mutant cockroaches on his way into a dark alley. Soon, after smashing them to the ground with his fists, he gets to the doctor and keeps following him into the building. When Ming got to the strange building, he sees a big hole in the ground and a straight-down ladder that Dr. Zhao had to have used. Ming he jumps down to the floor below and calls him out as he keeps climbing the Lanyang water supply tank. When he sees him, he is very surprised. When he starts talking about the purifying beast's blood, Dr. Zhao can't help but wonder how he knows about something like that. He ends up saying that he made a big mistake by admitting that he didn't know, but that it wasn't on purpose. Dr. Zhao says that he has come here to see if the water supply is polluted. This shows that he still thinks he is to blame for the tragedy since the blood was lost around this place. His way of making up for his mistake doesn't fit with Ming He's theory because he isn't a superhuman and can be easily killed by a dangerous beast. Dr. Zhao begs him for help, saying that telling the truth to the authorities will hurt his life and his family because no one can take care of his family if he goes to jail. Ming He tells him that even he has limits to what he can do and that including him in the situation is the same as calling for death because it will let the mutated situation keep spreading. Dr. Zhao agrees with him that they have certain limits, but she acts strangely when Ming says this. He tells him that he hasn't yet told the officials what's going on. He also says that he didn't lose the blood after saying that Ming, since he is still in school, he might not understand everything he sees. This makes him curious because he doesn't want to leave without knowing what he will do here. Then Dr. Zhao goes on to say that humans should be blamed for lowering the quality of life on Earth, since we are trying to kill off living things like cockroaches, maggots, and rats without thinking about the consequences. Dr. Zhao's thoughts kept getting creepier every time he opened his mouth and blamed humans for everything, showing that he was anti-human. Ming He thought Dr. Zhao had gone crazy because he kept talking about things that had nothing to do with the topic. He finally admitted that he was the one who caused the pollution that caused the mutations in the environment. He says that he started it as a simple experiment, but it grew over time because he wanted to kill all the humans in Lanyang City and then everyone else in the cities because he hates humans. He also says that he would get closer to his goal if he kills someone like Ming. He thanks him for being dumb and naive, but he didn't know that he is actually quite the opposite and has already planned something bigger. Things were going well until Dr. Zhao told Ming that his plan to pollute the water source was going to work. He realizes that he is right, since everyone who drinks the water will be affected. Suddenly, Ming He decides to take a break, which surprises Dr. Zhao because he thought he would act like a hero. Instead, he keeps talking about how he isn't fit to be a hero as he leaves. But when Dr. Zhao looks in his lab coat, he can't find the calamity beast blood that was going to help him spread the mutation. He realizes that Ming He took it while acting like a scared human. Soon, Dr. Zhao kneels down on the ground and tears through his human skin, revealing his mutated transformation and letting out a strange yell. When he looks back at Dr. Zhao, he sees that his decision to take the blood out of his pocket was the right one, but he can't help but be shocked by how he has changed. He used himself as a test subject for a mutation experiment, and now he can change himself and also make mutated animals through his body. Soon after he was about to use the rope ladder to get up, but a mutated beast attacked it and tore it into pieces. It was a sneaky attack, since the beast only went after the ladder to block his way. But still, he gets out of the place with the help of a mutated animal that helps him jump to the top floor. He then uses wet concrete and his superhuman ability to fill in the hole in the ground. Mutated Dr. Zhao could still feel the Calamity Beast's blood, even though his body was already full of it. This showed that his body was already filled with the blood, and it also showed that he wasn't going to stop looking for more of it until he reached his goal of reaching a higher level of mutation in the environment. When he starts to run away from Dr. Zhao. As he does, he starts to think about the situation and comes to the conclusion that he can't survive a fight with Dr. Zhao at his current level. But all he can think about is how he needs to drag things out until the officials get back the blood sample they have in their hands, which depends on Sister Lan. Xiao Ran and Liao Xiaojiang, both at the same rank as Huang Feng, were helping him kill mutated maggots to the west of the abandoned building. Huang Feng was an extraordinary person with the Moonglow rank. Also, there was a fat guy with them, and they were looking for stronger monsters to kill for their bounties. Huang Feng was standing on a manhole when it suddenly exploded like a bomb, throwing him into the air as the mutated Dr. Zhao came through it. Huang Feng is saved by his teammate Xiao Ran, but they were talking about how dangerous the mutated human in front of them was without thinking about how dangerous it really was. Huang Feng tries to show off his speed, but Dr. Zhao grabs him and throws him against the concrete wall, popping his bubbles. The mutated blades cut right through the body of Moonglow rank extraordinaire, and when his friend Xiao Ran tries to save him by cutting the flesh off of Zhao's knees, he cuts through her as well. The fat guy and Liao Xiaojiang were looking at their dead team members the whole time. One by one, mutated rat beasts crawled out of the manhole. Dr. Zhao is in a hurry to get the blood sample from Minghe, so he doesn't kill them and runs a long way to catch up with him. That concludes part 1 of this recap. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. What will happen next? If you would like to see a part 2 of this manhwa, let us know in the comments section below. Till next time.